The market does not reward excitement. It rewards evolution. Every man enters the market to make money. Only a few remain long enough to become something greater than they were. Most chase profit. The wise chase transformation. I have seen it in every decade, in every mania, in every silent tape. The faces change. The game does not. Prices move. Men react. The weak reach for the easy dollar. The strong reach for understanding. The market is not a teacher of prices. It is a mirror of men. It shows what you are: impatient, fearful, arrogant, and it demands a toll before revealing who you may become. Becoming a profitable trader is not a matter of learning how to trade. It is the slow death of what makes you unprofitable. 5 signs appear along this road, though few recognize them before it is too late. The first sign is silence. When the noise of the crowd no longer stirs you, when the chatter of predictions, forecasts, and opinions fades into background static. Once you needed the noise. You mistook movement for opportunity, chatter for insight, but now you sit before the tape and listen to something quieter. The rhythm beneath the numbers, the pulse of collective emotion. You trade less, think more, and in that stillness you hear truth. Most never reach that silence because they are afraid of what it exposes, their own uncertainty. They crave confirmation from others because they do not yet trust themselves. But when the market has punished your impulsiveness often enough, you stop seeking approval. You learn that peace in trading begins when you stop explaining your trades. I remember standing in a smoky bucket shop on Broad Street. A young man, barely 20. The room was alive with noise. Men shouting orders, chalk scribbling prices faster than thought. I was one of them. Every uptick pulled my heart higher. Every downtick sank it. One morning I watched a man who did not move. His slip of paper lay untouched. His eyes were fixed, calm, detached. When the market turned and others were wiped clean, he quietly rose and left, richer not only in dollars, but in composure. That was the day I learned the first law. The profitable trader trades with silence inside him. The second sign is humility. When you stop trying to be right and start trying to last. Ego is the most expensive position a man can hold. I once thought victory meant proving my judgment superior to others. The market cured me. It reminded me that pride cannot hedge against loss. A trader who survives learns to bow before uncertainty. He stops predicting and starts preparing. He accepts that control is an illusion. Only discipline is real. Not courage, but control. Not conviction, but flexibility. Not noise, but observation. Humility enters the heart after enough ruin. I have known it through ruin myself. After my first great fortune, I felt immortal. Then came 1907, the panic, the liquidation, the free fall. My brilliance vanished with the ticker tape. What remained was lesson enough. The market does not care who you are, only how you act. The third sign is boredom and the ability to bear it. Most traders crave motion. They believe that doing something is progress. But the market rewards the man who can wait and wait and wait still longer. I have spent days, weeks, even months watching a line on the ticker and doing nothing. That stillness would drive most men mad. But I learned that money is made in the sitting, not the trading. The amateur wants action. The professional wants accuracy. Patience is not a pause. It is an active force. It holds back the impulse, the greed, the fear. It takes more strength to do nothing than to act rashly. The profitable trader becomes a master of delay. The fourth sign is detachment. When a loss no longer wounds your ego and a gain no longer inflates it. You trade to execute a plan, not to feed emotion. When you can take a loss with the same calm as a profit, you have crossed a threshold most never approach. I have known traders ruined, not by one bad trade, but by one good one. They fell in love with success, married it, and when it left them, as it always does, they were broken. A man who treats each trade as one of many, no more sacred than the next, is free. Detachment is freedom from both hope and despair. It is the mind's equilibrium in a world of chaos. The fifth sign is clarity. The fog lifts. You no longer chase systems, rumors, or tips. You see that the market's greatest truth is simple. Price reveals all. Everything else is noise. Clarity means you no longer argue with reality. You act in harmony with it. The The chart becomes less of a puzzle, more of a mirror. You see fear forming, greed rising, structure breaking, and you act, not from excitement, but from understanding. When clarity comes, trading feels almost spiritual, not because it is mystical, but because you finally align with what is. You no longer fight the current. You move with it. And so the circle closes. Silence, humility, boredom, detachment, clarity. Each sign marks a shedding of the old self, the self that chases, reacts, insists, and falls. Becoming a profitable trader is not about adding more. It is about subtracting what blinds you. The market is not your enemy. It is your examiner. Every tick is a question. Have you learned? Each answer is written not in your words, but in your discipline. Remember this, the profitable trader is not the one who conquers the market, but the one who conquers himself. Patience, discipline, and survival. These are not merely virtues, they are the currency of longevity. The market whispers them each day, to every man who dares listen. The test never ends. The lessons never cease. And perhaps, in the quiet between trades, you will ask yourself not, what will the market do next? But who am I becoming as it moves? Only then will you understand the law of becoming, that the market does not make men rich. It makes them real. The first step toward mastery is not found in a book, nor whispered in a crowd. It is born in silence. The trader who learns to quiet the noise of the world begins to hear something deeper, the faint, steady rhythm of truth. In the beginning, every trader seeks voices. He hunts for advice, for systems, for tips that promise certainty in an uncertain game. He joins the chorus of predictions, bullish, bearish, endless, and loud. Each word adds to the confusion, until the market becomes not a place of decision, but a storm of opinion. And in that storm his own judgment drowns. But the market does not speak through voices. It speaks through motion, through the rise and fall of prices, through the weight of human emotion pressed into numbers. To hear it, one must grow still enough to listen. That is the first and hardest discipline. There comes a day when the trader begins to notice the futility of noise. He realizes that every shout of confidence hides uncertainty. Every forecast is a confession of fear. He sees men trading not with reason, but with desperation to be right, and he steps back. He turns inward. At first, silence feels unbearable. The absence of noise exposes what noise once concealed. Doubt, hesitation, vulnerability. The trader longs for distraction, for confirmation that he is not alone in his fear. But in resisting that urge, something profound begins to happen. The noise fades, and awareness sharpens. He begins to see the market instead of reacting to it. The silent trader no longer asks, what do others think? He asks, what is the market showing? He no longer needs constant stimulation to feel alive. The slow tick of the tape is enough. Every movement has meaning. Every pause a hint. Silence transforms chaos into pattern. Silence is not the absence of sound. It is the presence of composure. It is the state in which impulse dies and observation is born. The profitable trader acts from this still center, where decisions come not from noise, but from necessity. When you can sit before a market in turmoil, when news screams, prices shudder, and others panic, and you remain unmoved, not because you are fearless, but because you are focused, then you have entered the threshold of mastery. The novice seeks answers in words. The master finds them in quiet observation, for silence is not weakness. It is wisdom matured. It is the calm before precision. And so the trader learns when the noise ceases, understanding begins. Only in silence does the mind hear what the market has been saying all along. The market has no mercy for pride. It does not flatter the confident, nor forgive the stubborn. It waits, patient and indifferent, until the proud man overreaches, and then it takes from him everything he thought he knew. Humility is not weakness. It is the armor of the survivor. Every trader begins with belief in his own intellect, his own perception of control. He thinks he can outsmart the crowd, predict the turn, command the wave. For a time, fortune may indulge him. His early prophets whisper that he is special, chosen, destined to master the game. But that whisper is the market's most dangerous lie. Sooner or later, the tape delivers its reckoning. A sudden reversal. A panic no chart foretold. A quiet trend that grinds against conviction until certainty crumbles. In those moments, ego is exposed, fragile, defensive, desperate to be right. The trader who cannot yield will not last. He will hold the losing position, because pride forbids surrender. He will add to it, rationalize it, defend it, and the market will break him, not through malice but through truth. The humble trader survives because he kneels before that truth. He does not argue with price. He listens to it. He accepts that the market is greater than his opinion, older than his reasoning, and far more powerful than his will. In that acceptance lies strength. Humility allows adaptation. It turns a loss into a teacher, a mistake into a mirror. The proud man blames the market. The humble man studies it. Pride seeks vindication. Humility seeks understanding. One demands to be right. The other desires to endure. I have known the intoxication of success, the thrill of believing I had mastered the market's code. It was a costly illusion. The moment I mistook luck for skill, the market stripped me bare. Only when I stood humble did clarity return. The lesson was simple and eternal. No man commands the market. He may only align with it for a time. To survive in trading is to surrender the need to be right. It is to replace arrogance with awareness, impulse with patience, certainty with readiness. Humility does not shrink a man. It refines him. It takes the sharp edge of ego and tempers it into discernment. And when the next storm comes, as it always does, it is the humble trader who bends, not breaks. For the market does not reward brilliance. It rewards balance. It spares the man who knows his smallness before its vast design. And that more than knowledge or courage is what keeps him alive. Patience, the most misunderstood of all virtues in trading. To the restless mind, patience appears as passivity. To the undisciplined, it feels like idleness. Yet in truth, patience is not the absence of action. It is the mastery of timing. It is the invisible strength that separates the survivor from the crowd. Every novice comes to the market filled with urgency. He believes success belongs to the one who moves fastest, who trades most, who stays constantly in motion. He mistakes activity for progress. He fears stillness as if it were death. And so he buys too soon, sells too late, and mistakes excitement for opportunity. But the market rewards the man who can wait. Not wait blindly. Wait with awareness, with purpose, with readiness. Waiting is not inaction. It is preparation held taut like a bowstring. Every tick of the clock, every whisper of the tape, becomes a test of resolve to do nothing when every impulse screams to act. That is strength. Patience is forged in the fires of regret. You learn it after the times you entered too early, exited too late, chased a rumor, or feared missing a move. Each wound teaches the same quiet truth. The market will always offer another chance, but never another capital if you squander it today. There were seasons in my own trading when I would sit for weeks, watching a single stock trace narrow lines across the tape. Others mocked the stillness. They called it wasted time. Yet when the moment came, when volume surged, when price broke through its cage, I was there, calm, ready, committed. They were not. Profits belong not to the quick, but to the prepared. Patience demands faith. Faith not in luck, but in your own discipline. It is the quiet conviction that opportunities cannot be forced. The market reveals them in its own rhythm, never yours. To demand haste from the market is like shouting at the tide to rise faster. It will not obey. The patient trader acts as the hunter does. Still, observant, breathing with the wind. He knows that to strike too soon is to ruin the hunt. He waits until probability, timing, and emotion align. Then, and only then, he acts with precision born of restraint. Patience is not submission. It is control. It is the art of governing desire until reason commands release. It turns the wild heart of speculation into the steady pulse of discipline. Remember this, the market tests not your intellect, but your endurance. The man who can wait longer than others, without losing clarity, without losing composure, will always emerge stronger. For wealth is not won in the flurry of motion, but in the silence between it. Patience is not merely the ability to wait. It is the strength to endure the waiting and still believe in your moment when it arrives. To trade well is to feel deeply, yet to act as though you feel nothing. This is the paradox every trader must face. The market touches every nerve, yet demands the stillness of stone. The moment you allow emotion to rule, you surrender command. Detachment, therefore, is not coldness. It is clarity preserved in the heat of battle. Most men come to the market seeking excitement. They crave the thrill of gain, the pulse of risk, the surge of victory. They mistake emotion for energy, movement for mastery. But the market is a mirror, and every emotion it reflects becomes a weapon against you. Joy turns into recklessness, fear turns into paralysis, hope turns into denial. Each feeling, if left unchecked, becomes a chain that binds judgment. The detached trader is not unfeeling. He is aware. He sees emotion arise and lets it pass, like clouds drifting across the mind. He does not resist it. He simply refuses to obey it. In profit, he feels gratitude, not pride. In loss, he feels instruction, not shame. Detachment is not the death of emotion. It is the discipline to keep emotion from dictating the next move. I have known the intoxication of profit. It is the sweetest poison. One good trade can blind you more than a dozen bad ones. You begin to think you have found the secret, that the market will obey your will. You grow careless, generous, certain. Then the market turns, and in a moment, that pride is stripped bare. What you believed to be mastery was merely emotion disguised as confidence. The same holds true for loss. Many a man has ruined himself not through one bad trade, but through the feeling that followed it, the need to recover, to prove himself, to erase the pain with action. Emotion is the invisible drawdown. It empties not the account first, but the mind. Detachment is the remedy. It is the mental stop-loss that protects your judgment when capital is at risk. The detached trader accepts that no trade defines him, no single outcome matters. He is bound not to fortune, but to process. He acts not to feel good, but to act correctly. This is the final evolution of the trader's mind, to operate in chaos with serenity and tact, to know that a profit does not elevate you and a loss does not diminish you, to stand before the market and say, "You may move as you will, but you cannot move me." Detachment is not indifference. It is balance. It is the steady flame that neither victory's wind nor defeat's rain can extinguish. And when you reach that state, when your heart no longer rises and falls with the tape, you are free, free to see clearly, free to act purely, free at last from the tyranny of emotion, which has broken greater men than Price ever did. For the mind that is detached cannot be conquered. It moves with reason, anchored in calm. And in that calm, freedom becomes the trader's truest profit. Clarity is the rarest sight in trading. Most look, but few truly see. The tape speaks to all men, yet only a handful hear what it says. For the mind does not perceive the market as it is. It perceives what it hopes, what it fears, what it wishes were true. Illusion clouds every judgment until pain burns it away. Only then, when falsehood has been stripped from desire, does clarity appear. Clarity is not knowledge. It is not the accumulation of charts, patterns, or theories. It is the quiet alignment between perception and reality. When your mind and the market move as one, you no longer argue with price. You no longer demand that it obey your logic. You accept it as truth in motion. In my youth, I sought meaning in every whisper of the ticker. Each movement had to mean something, a hidden motive, a secret signal. I hunted explanations because I could not bear uncertainty. But the market does not explain. It only expresses. I learned this the hard way. Every time I imposed my opinions upon price, the market punished my arrogance. Every time I listened, it rewarded my humility. Clarity begins where bias ends. When illusion fades, the trader sees not stories but structure, not emotion but equilibrium. He no longer clings to hope or fear, but reads both as data. A rally is not a promise. A decline is not a threat. Each is a fact. Nothing more, nothing less. This is the moment of true becoming. The trader ceases to be a dreamer chasing fortune and becomes an observer of truth. He stops seeking to predict and begins to understand. The future no longer tempts him. because the present contains everything he needs to know. Clarity has a purity to it, cold, unadorned, unforgiving. It cuts through the noise of forecasts and opinions like a blade. It demands honesty, especially the kind a man owes to himself. You cannot see the market clearly if you cannot see yourself clearly. Every bias, every hidden desire distorts your vision. Only self-awareness restores it. The clear-eyed trader moves with calm precision. He acts not because he must, but because the signal is unmistakable. There is no rush, no doubt, no craving for validation, just alignment, thought, plan, and execution fused into a single motion. And in that moment, trading becomes almost serene. The chaos of others no longer touches you. Their panic and euphoria pass through like wind through glass. You stand apart not because you are better, but because you are anchored in reality. Clarity is not perfection. It is acceptance. Acceptance that the market is neither right nor wrong. It simply is. The task is not to conquer it, but to understand it, to move in rhythm with its truth. When you reach this state, the noise dissolves. Price becomes your compass. Discipline, your path. Understanding, your peace. For in the end, clarity is not something you find in the market. It is something you become. When illusion dies and truth remains, the trader finally sees, not the market he hoped for, but the market that has been there all along.